Hello, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's been a wonderful day for me. I've been trying to address a lot of things, and then I don't know about you, but I hope that you had a wonderful day as well. And for those of you that were inducted in Lagos yesterday, congratulations. We were not able to, stream live the or live stream the event because of some technicalities. It's the national headquarters that have those technicalities and knows what they can do. So, but we're not there. So the Lagos chapter handled the induction, but they did well. And we congratulate all of you that were inducted yesterday. And we welcome you specially into the fold. And we hope that you are coming with interesting ideas to add to what we are doing to make the institute great and to make our society peaceful and beautiful for all of us. And for those of you that are intending to become members in Port Harcourt, our Port Harcourt induction is going to be this week, Saturday. So if you want to be part of Port Harcourt induction and you have not applied yet, please do so. We have from now till at most Tuesday or Wednesday to make your payment so that we can be able to process your things. Thursday, we'll send them to Port Harcourt as much as possible. And then for those of you that want to join Abuja induction, so Enugu, those that applied to be inducted in Enugu, you can join Port Harcourt or you can join Abuja induction, join convention, and also be part of the induction in Abuja. So, and those of you that intends to be part of the induction in Abuja, please, you can go ahead and apply. We still have time. Abuja inductions on the 30th of this month, so you can still participate. And for those of you that want to do online induction, you cannot be able to travel, or you want to avoid the cost of OTB transportation, traveling on the road, or even a cost now. We will be coming up with online induction in December, so you can apply to be inducted online. So you can be inducted anywhere you are, whether you are in UK, in America, in Kenya, in Rwanda, anywhere, any part of the world, you can be inducted online in December. So you can take part in the online training or induction, which will be coming up in December. So thank you very much for having to join us today. This has been our 1 month professional diploma training in peace and conflict management. And today is our day 9th of the training. And I want to thank you for always taking time to be part of the training. So if you have joined the meeting, do way to share the link with someone, inviting them to also be part of today's training. Please, I'm coming. Let me address something here sharply. Seems like the meeting has not been shared. So I'm coming. Let me address something here sharply so that other people will join us. It's like they have not shared the link. we'll continue with our training. All right. Yeah. Okay, let us proceed now. All right, let us proceed now. All right. Um, so thank you very much for taking time to join us. Yes, I like what I'm seeing in the comment section. Yeah. So let your group members let them identify themselves in the comment section. So if you are a group leader, post your group and let all the members of your group identify that yes, they are present for today's training. That is a good method that you guys are taking, and I like it. So that those that are not participating, you will know them. So, and if anybody that did not join the meeting, they should give you a reason why they did not join. Do you understand? And if you are not convinced enough, let them know that they have a warning. Next time they didn't join, you will not accept such excuse. All right. So that we need to regret, so that people will not come and they take us for granted here. They are doing a serious thing here. So, but that is just it. So let us go ahead with today's training. Today's training, we're going to look at a very important topic, and we are hopeful that you will grab something here today. All right. So if you have joined today's meeting, kindly do way to share the link with someone, inviting them to come and be part of the training, to take training with us, know what is going on here, and then benefit from it just the way you're benefiting from it. Let them know that it's free, they're not paying anything to be part of this training, and so let them come without being afraid, and then they'll benefit from this training, right? So today we are stepping into Module 3, Unit 1. Module 3, Unit 1. This is what we're looking at today. And we'll be looking at how some of these international organizations are contributing to promote peace and security around the world, particularly the United Nations and some regional organizations, the role they are playing to bring peace into our world is what we'll be looking at today, right? So I'm sure that you are going to also contribute to this course in the comment section, right? So now we are looking at the international organizations and conflict management. That is in module 3. We are looking at international organizations and conflict management. And so in unit 1, we'll be looking at the role of the United Nations in conflict resolution, because United Nations is an international umbrella under which peace and security matters are being discussed. Is an organization that is being looked upon to give guidelines or take steps or measures to bring about peace in our world. This particular organization was formed particularly as the result of peace building activities. Do you understand? Because it came after the First and Second World War. Do you understand? And so people will think, what can we do to make sure that we're not having this kind of situation again? And then they came up with the United Nations Charter that established the United Nations Organization, which is a combination, a collection of most of the countries of the world who are members of the institution, and they all surround surrender some of their rights to the organization, all right, while maintaining their sovereignty. They work with other partners, that is, other state partners, to make sure that we bring peace in our world. So the United Nations has been at the forefront of peace activities and of course security. Yes, it has been plagued with a lot of challenges based on some international politics, which is making United Nations look so powerless in the eyes of the commoners. But it was one of the strong institutions that was intended to address the matters of peace and security around the world. And of course, they have been doing a great job, but international politics and interest has been a major constraint that is limiting the efforts of the United Nations organization. Do you understand? But by and large, the United Nations is doing a lot to make sure that there is peace in our world anyway. Do you understand? Despite limitation, despite constraint, despite political interest. Do you understand? So, we'll be looking at the overview of the United Nations Charter provisions of peace and security. Yeah, we'll look at those provisions specifically that speak for peace and security. And then we'll look at peacekeeping and peace enforcement. What is the similarity, what is the difference, and what role each of these components plays in terms of bringing about peace in our world. Then we'll talk about success stories and then some of the challenges confronting the United Nations interventions so that you will also get to know what United Nations has been able to achieve over time and what are the challenges confronting the United Nations. All of these we are going to discuss it and have a conversation so that you have an understanding of what this is all about. All right. So let's go into this conversation so that you know what we are talking about here. So we are talking about the role of the United Nations, right? So what role does the United Nations plays when it comes to peace activities in our world? What role do the United Nations plays when it comes to peace activities in our world? All right. So the United Nations plays various and impacts uh, and beneficial roles when it comes to peacekeeping, peace activities, security matters. The United Nations is playing influential role and making sure that we are moving in a particular direction to have peace. We have state leaders who have been speaking. Recently, we have been talking about the Barbados Prime Minister, um, who also spoke recently at the United Nations General Assembly, where she met case for world peace. Do you understand? So, um, we say that United Nations plays significant roles in global conflict resolution through preventive diplomacy, peacekeeping operation, peace building, mediation, and sanctions. So the whole essence of United Nations is conflict prevention. You understand? Conflict prevention. So the United Nations is to, and that's why whenever they fail to prevent any particular conflict from occurring, then it becomes so difficult to resolve that conflict. It becomes so difficult to settle handle that conflict. And case study is the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So since they were not able to address the conflict at the initial stage, it's now becoming so difficult for them to be able to resolve that conflict. The same thing between Israel and Hamas, though that has been a protracted conflict over the years, but it has also been one of the challenging situations that we face in the countries around the world. Do you understand? So now, What role? What are those specific roles that the United Nations play as an organization? One is the preventive diplomacy, right? So, of course, they have been mediating, negotiating to make sure that conflict do not escalate. Do you understand? Then providing early warning mechanisms. The United Nations is known for providing early warning mechanism that helps in trying to detect where conflict is about to occur so that they can take preventive measures to forestall the occurrence of that conflict. Do you understand? So, United Nations has been providing early warning mechanism, all right, through bodies like United Nations Department of Political and Peace Building Affairs, all right, DPPA, and then the UN monitors global events and addresses tension before they lead to violence. So that's what they have been doing. All right. Then another one is peacekeeping operations. The United Nations has been carrying out various peacekeeping operations, one in Liberia, one in you know Sierra Leone, also several other places. The United Nations has been carrying out peacekeeping activities operation in South Sudan, several activities, peacekeeping activities in Africa and in other parts of the world. Do you understand? So, and these activities are being carried out where a neutral force is being deployed to witness either the transition or to forestall the escalation and, of course, the destructions of human lives and property. Do you understand? And properties. So, the United Nations has been in the forefront of peacekeeping operations because sometimes they authorize regional organizations to go ahead and carry that operation. And that's what we have under ECOWAS. We have what we call the ECOMOC. The ECOMOC carry out such operations. Do you understand? And then we have other ones under African Union who also carry out peace keeping operations being authorized by the United Nations. But by the provisions of the United Nations generally, some of these regional bodies they have the authority and the permission to go ahead and carry out uh, peacekeeping activities. We have mediation and good offices of the Secretary General, right? So the Secretary General can use good offices, right, to help mediate and resolve disputes. And yeah, I think the United Nations Secretary General has been up and doing, speaking a lot. Sometimes even attract enmity because he speak against certain interests. Do you understand? And so sometimes his position is also being threatened because of several powers that are in play, accusation here and there, and double standard accusations simply because he speak against certain interests and certain action. Do you understand? So, and all of that has been there, but he has been using his office, calling for meetings and calling for emergency meetings to see that some of these issues are being addressed. Do you understand? So the United Nations General Secretary General has been up and doing, making sure that peace is happening, and the United Nations is doing its job despite the challenges. All right. So peace building and post-conflict reconstruction. Yes, the United Nations has also been carrying out. This one of the functions of the United Nations peacekeeping operation. We have different peacekeeping operation activities. Do you understand? Sometimes some of them also embedded in infrastructure development. So it's not just about uh, forestalling the escalation of conflict, but at the same time, sometimes it's also embedded some activities, some functions like reformation activities, right? Kind of reform programs, right? Or police reforms, electoral reforms, rule of law reforms. Do you understand? So sometimes they help countries in carrying out those functions to make sure that they have the return to democracy and the rule of law reign against every form of conflict that has happened. So they don't just focus on prevention alone, but also in post-conflict reconstruction. United Nations perform such roles when the need arise. That's why you see in Borno State or in the northeastern Nigeria, they have been providing resources for rebuilding. You understand? Yes, they do it. They bring their own counterpart funding, and then the country bring their own. And also, other parties, interested parties, also bring their own to make sure that you know rebuilding process is taking place. Do you understand? Provide humanitarian aid, do a lot of things. Right? So humanitarian assistance and protection is also one of the roles that the United Nations play, right? Or has been playing over the years. Do you understand? So it's because when it goes for okay, you can look at the issue now between Israel and Palestine. So between Israel and Palestine, the Israeli government voted for you know to withdraw who is the United Nations um, agents that provide humanitarian aid to people in conflict. But they have been voted against, so they have to withdraw their services. And if they withdraw their services, it means that people who are being displaced are going to suffer a lot of things, hunger, and then they will not have certain services. And of course, that will affect their lives and their also well-being. Do you understand? So, but United Nations has been up and doing, making sure that even the rights of the people are being protected. Do you understand? And that's what we have the United Nations High Commissioner for what refugees, and then we also have World Food Programs that are providing food. We also have other ones who take care of the IDPs. Do you understand? So the United Nations is doing a lot to make sure that these things are going on seamlessly. So sanctions and embargoes, another role that United Nations plays, uh, you know, to uh, in, in, impose sanctions. The United Nations impose sanctions on ailing nation or state partners who are going contrary to the provisions of the United Nations. So they impose sanctions on them to you know to serve as a deterrent for what they are doing. But sometimes some of them are stubborn, they still go ahead despite those sanctions to be carrying out the activities they want to carry. North Korea, talk about Iran, talk about Russia, who are heavily sanctions, but they're still going on with whatever activities they want to carry. Do you understand? So there are issues, but embargoes and sanctions are also some of the rules and measures that the United Nations, has been taking to bring peace in our world. Then we have international justice and accountability. Yes, we have um, International Court of Justice or International Criminal Court, where crimes of war are being adjudicated. Do you understand? So where people feel aggrieved as a result of international conflict. They can use this code to address some of those challenges. We understand that even that is also a challenge, but it has also be healthy in one way or the other to make sure that there's peace in our world, right? So that's why at some point they, they issue a warrant, an arrest, a warrant of arrest against the Russian president, and as a result, he has not been traveling to some certain states. Do you understand? Some certain countries. He cannot travel to some certain countries. If he travel to some certain countries, they will arrest him. Do you understand? So that's it. Except the state choose to protect him, but he's always careful. When he was to travel to South Africa, they say South African government should arrest him. So as a result, eventually he did not even travel to South Africa again. Do you understand? So he has been so careful so that he will not go to a place where he will be arrested because there's an international warrant of arrest against him that is pending. So anytime he can be picked. Do you understand? And most especially when he's done with his presidency, it is easy to pick him. He will be picked easily. You understand? Now he's enjoying immunity as a president of a nation. But as soon as he drop, anytime, any day he can be picked. You understand? Can you hear me well? Yes. So these are the functions that the United Nations, or these are some of the functions that United Nations has been playing to make sure that there's peace in our world, right? Then why you are hearing those noises from the background. So can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. All right. So we are going to continue. We're going to continue. So let's look at the overview of the United Nations Charter provisions on peace and security. All right. What are the overview? So the United Nations Charter, established in 1945, is the founding document of the UN and outlines its primary purpose of maintaining international peace and security. So this United Nations as a whole was established to maintain international peace and security. Do you understand? That was the essence why the United Nations was established in the first place. After the First and Second World War, they were looking for which institution can be able to regulate how nations of the world were operating, because it was so easy for countries to go against each other, or the Nazis war and all of those things that causes First and Second World War. So it was not funny considering the number of people that died as a result of this war. Do you understand? So they felt that there should be an international organization to regulate the activities of member states. All right. So once you decide to become a member of the United Nations, then you will be bound by the principles and provisions of the United Nations. Do you understand? And so we have several countries that are members of the United Nations, even though we have few that are still not yet part of that. All right. The North Korea, very stubborn man, not serious with the United Nations, and not even bothered at all. All right. So, but there are provisions that guides the operation of the United Nations, and these provisions are covered in chapter 1, chapter 6, chapter 7, and in chapter 8. All right. So let's look at what these chapters says or what they are meant, all right, for. So chapter 1, purposes and principles, all right. So in chapter 1, article 1, it established the purpose of maintaining international peace and security, taking collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats, and suppressing acts of aggression. So that's what chapter 1, article 1, says. It empowers the United Nations to maintain international peace and security. So we take steps collectively. That's why we have what we call peacekeeping. So it's a collection of state delegations, military delegations, civilian delegations. Do you understand? That used to go on peacekeeping missions. So the essence is that they should take away any form of threat, remove any form of threat, and suppress any acts of aggression. So that's what the United Nations is standing for. And then Article 2 sets out principles such as sovereign equality of all members. So all members are considered as equal partners. Do you understand? Yes, because they are all sovereign institutions, sovereign territories. Do you understand? So they are being treated as equal members. They are being treated as equal members. The prohibition of forces against the state and the requirement for members to settle disputes peacefully. So, what this article expects is uh, that it was so easy for countries to be going against another country, it is now limited that you people should be able to resolve your differences peacefully. As a nation versus another nation, what you are expected to do is that once there's an issue, you should engage the instrument of mediation, negotiation to resolve your dispute. Diplomatic tools, do you understand? To resolve your differences, not to go in full war, like fight war, not to go and destroy lives and property. You understand? So you have to resolve your differences peacefully. That's what this article says. In chapter 6, we talk about the specific settlement of disputes. So it talk about the pacifist. Do you understand? Specific settlement of disputes. So in article 33 to 38, this chapter emphasizes peaceful resolution of conflict. It encourages states to resolve dispute by negotiation, mediation, arbitration, or judicial settlement, among other methods available. You understand? So you are not to carry arm to resolve dispute. You are expected as much as possible to address your conflict by using what instrument of mediation, arbitration, and negotiation to resolve your differences. We're not to use weapons. But it's very unfortunate that we are still seeing countries using weapons, all right, to address their differences, all right. The the role of the Security Council can investigate disputes or situations that may lead to international tension and recommend procedures or terms of settlement. So the Security Council, which is also in charge of security, maintaining security and peace, they are also responsible to carry out investigation to see that suggestions and procedures are being determined to address conflict. But you can see this particular council is also a problem because we have seven state members that are called the G7, and all of them have veto power. So once one country use that veto power, whatever the rest agree is still it will not go. You understand? That's why the conflict in Israel, the conflict in the Middle East is still going on because whenever other states, member states agree on any action, America will veto it. And once America veto it, it becomes useless. Do you understand? So the Security Council. So in chapter 8, action with respect to threats to the peace, breaches of the peace, and action of aggression. So, and then Article 39 to 51, these articles give the Security Council the authority to take action when peace is threatened. And that's why sometimes the United Nations will call for emergency meetings. That's one of the actions they take. All right, they call for emergency meetings to make sure that the conflict do not escalate. Do you understand? And when there's tension, they also make press conferences calling on nations to exercise restraint, also to exercise caution in their engagement. When Iran fire missiles against Israel, what happened? The United Nations called for an emergency meeting, and they also call on the Israel Prime Minister to make sure that their response is within measures. All right. But another thing is that all of these countries have the privilege of self-defense. So, but what the United Nations try to achieve here is that even though you have the privilege to defend yourself, when you want to respond to any act of an aggression, you should respond with team measures that is being approved. Do you understand? So that's what it is. That's why Israel did not target Iran, oil, oil region. Also avoid their nuclear areas and several places. Do you understand? To avoid full-fledged war in the Middle East. So that is it. So the Security Council determines the existence of threats to peace and decide on appropriate measures. All right. So Article 41 and 42, if peaceful measures like sanctions fail, the Security Council can authorize military action to restore peace. So do you understand? So sanctions have been given, all right? Sanctions upon sanction, and some of these state members don't care about the sanction. It doesn't matter how much sanctions is being placed on them. They don't care. They want to just go ahead and do whatever they want to do. Yeah, that simply United Nations has the power to place sanctions. That is fine. But as you place sanctions, we are taking other steps. That's why Russia is still going on. That's why they have not decided to form BRICS. Do you understand? So they can have other currencies to deal with. Not necessary. dollars. Do you understand? Because some of them have foreign reserves in dollars. And so whenever sanctions are being placed, it begins to affect the economy. Do you understand? So Article 51 recognizes the right to self-defense. You see, this is the article that gives the, the states the right to defend themselves. Do you understand? So for self-defense, if an armed attack occurs, if an armed attack occurs, pending the Security Council's intervention. And that is why Israel is killing and killing and killing in the name of self-defense, because they say they were first attacked. You understand? And so they are building on that, and they are doing whatever they want to do. Chapter 8, Regional Arrangement, Articles 52 and 54 encourages regional organizations to address peace and security issues. However, any enforcement action requires authorization by the Security Council. Do you understand? So now we're talking about, when we talk about enforcement, is a different matter. When we're talking about peace enforcement, it's a different matter. Well, when we compare it to peacekeeping, peacekeeping is a different case, right? Peacekeeping and peace enforcement are not the same. Although they have something in common. So that's it. So the role of the General Assembly, right? The role of the General Assembly, although the Security Council has primary responsibility, the General Assembly can also make recommendations concerning peace and security under Article what? Under Article under Articles 10 to 14, right? They can also make recommendations. Under the Uniting for Peace Resolution, you know, 1950, if the Security Council fails to act due to veto, the General Assembly can address threats to peace. So the Security Council has the power to decide and determine what happens whenever there's a threat, because they have to investigate to determine what to do. But in case any of the member states vetoed it, what do they do? Right? The General Assembly must also take action. Right? So these are some of the provisions in the United Nations Charter that promote peace and security. Several of them, right? So you can see how important the issue of peace and security is. So we also have to take these things serious in our communities, in our societies. Do you understand? So let's look at peacekeeping and peace enforcement. Please, if you are not share this meeting with someone, I'll share it, invite them to be part of the training. And also, if you are not share it in your own individual group, share it so that your group members can also participate and be part of this training. You can see we are having only 46 people here. So, group leaders, if you go back to your group, tell your group members what it means not to be attending classes, because it may not be funny when the time comes, right? So share the meeting with someone, put it on your wall, inviting them to take part in this training and benefit from it as well. So now let's look at peacekeeping and peace enforcement, right? These two concepts are, have distinct approaches. These two concepts have what? Distinct approaches within the United Nations. All right. So the effort of United Nations to maintain peace and security through this instrument, peacekeeping and peace enforcement. The two are not the same. All of them aim at achieving peace but use different approaches. You understand? So let's look at peacekeeping. Definition and purpose. Peacekeeping refers to the deployment of United Nations personnel, often including military, police, and civilian personnel, to conflict zones with the consent of the parties involved. Peacekeeping missions aim to create conditions that allow for political processes, support the implementation of peace agreements, and help prevent further violence. So, peacekeeping is not just done by the military personnel only. The police and of course even civilians are being assigned to go on peacekeeping because when the rights of people are being abused, there must be an investigation. Do you understand? And of course, it's not everybody that is comfortable discussing with the military or the police. So that's why civilians also follow suit to go on peacekeeping mission because they give advice, they counsel in terms of trauma healing. Do you understand? They provide counsel, and of course, it helps to for restoration, mental restoration, and all of that. So, what are the characteristics of peacekeeping? Consent based. That is the combatant, the parties in conflict must give a consent, allowing the United Nations to send a neutral third party in terms of peacekeeping operators, right, or the peacekeeping missions operation to come in between and serve as what come and serve as a neutral force to limit the consequences of their action. So impartiality. And these peacekeeping officers maintain high level of what impartiality. So any moment, any sign of partiality is being shown, it's going to be a disaster. All right. So they maintain high level of impartiality, limited use of force. Peacekeepers doesn't use force because some of them use stick buttons. All right. Some of them doesn't even carry anything. They're just there, and some of them are lightly armed, light armed, right? Light armed. That is, they cannot engage in any major confrontation, but they can engage where their lives are being threatened in terms of maybe emergencies. You understand? But they are lightly armed, all right? So they cannot use force. That's the peacekeepers. So types of peacekeeping. We have monitoring ceasefire. So once agreement is being reached and a ceasefire is being determined, the you know, so the peacekeepers monitors the ceasefire agreement and ensure compliance. Do you understand? They ensure that compliance has taken place. Disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. Right? Disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. Peacekeeping missions may oversee the disarmament and reintegration of former combatants. So all those Boko Haram members can be disarmed and, of course, reintegrated in a larger society. I think some of them were given job opportunities, right? So these are the issue. So election assistance, where necessary, peacekeepers may help organize and secure elections. You understand? Because if we leave it with the people involved only, it may escalate the conflict. So they play a major role to make sure that you know elections are being done fair. Humanitarian support. Peacekeepers protect and protect aid deliveries and help provide humanitarian assistance to civilians in conflict zones. Like what is happening in Palestine now, in Lebanon. People are being displaced, people suffering. So peacekeepers they help in distributing what humanitarian aid to the affected civilian groups. Do you understand? Example of United peacekeeping missions. United Nations peacekeeping missions. Example one, United Nations interim force in Lebanon. United Nations mission in South Sudan. United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. All are some examples of what peacekeeping. Let's look at peace enforcement. What is peace enforcement? So peace enforcement involves the use of military force to restore peace and security without requiring the consent of the parties involved. In peacekeeping, before the United Nations goes on a peacekeeping mission, the parties involved in conflict must accept and welcome the United Nations peacekeeping force. Do you understand? Well, there's also another provisions that says that if the conflict is becoming so destructive, do you understand? The conflict is becoming so destructive, the United Nations can deploy the instrument of peace enforcement. This one, it does not seek the consent of the combatants. This one, the United Nations use force to make sure that peace must be made possible. Whether you like it or not, peace must be restored. Do you understand? I'm thinking that the United Nations is being powerless in the face of the Israel and their neighbors simply because of the categorization that Hamas is international terrorist group. The Hezbollahs are international terrorist groups. The Houthis are what international terrorist group. And I think that's the reason why United Nations not being able to say much. But assuming Palestine is a full-time state, I think something else must have been done. So peace enforcement means making peace possible. So it doesn't matter how you feel, whether you like it, whether you welcome it or not, it's not a problem, but peace must take place. That's enforcement. Are you the point now? See the idea, see the difference. So what are the characteristics of peace enforcement? No requirement for consent. Nobody sent for your consent. We don't even need your consent. We are coming to intervene. All we want is that there must be peace in your nation or in your community. That's what we want. So we don't care about your consent. Whether you give consent or not, we are coming. So we must do our work. That's peace enforcement. Robust use of force. Yes, we are the peacekeepers are lightly armed. This one, they are heavily armed. Very, very heavily armed because they are going for war, for battle, to make peace happen possibly. You understand? We talk about mandated by Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. Peace enforcement operations are authorized by the United Nations Security Council under Charter 7. Under Chapter 7, which empowers the Council to take military or non-military actions to restore peace. Examples of peace enforcement operation: Korean War in 1950. The United Nations authorized the coalition to repel North Korea forces after the invasion of South Korea. You understand? There was a strong force against North Korea. Then the Gulf War in 1990 to 1999 or in 1991, the United Nations authorized the use of force to expel Iraqi forces from Kuwait. Right? Then we have interventions in Somalia and Bosnia. In 1990s, the United Nations supported peace enforcement mission in this region, although with varying level of success, because that's the reason why Bosnia is somehow more peaceful than Somalia. Somalia is still a difficult situation. What are the key differences between peacekeeping and peace enforcement? What are the key differences between peacekeeping and peace enforcement? 1. Challenges and considerations. Peacekeeping challenges. Peacekeeping missions can be hindered by lack of cooperation from the host state, resource constraint, and limitation in mandate are some of the challenges. So, complex conflicts with multiple non-state actors or deep-rooted issues can make it difficult for peacekeepers to remain neutral or effective. You understand? Peace enforcement challenges. The use of force in peace enforcement can also lead to high casualties, which is something that peacekeeping avoids, both for intervening forces and civilians, and can risk escalating conflict. So there may be significant political challenges in gaining Security Council approval. Political what? Challenges, because there are political interests. Right? So there are political interests, and that's why Israel is always being protected by the Americans. Let's look at some of the success stories, interventions. Talk about Namibia. United Nations Transition Assistance Group, UNTAG, oversaw Namibia transition to independence from South Africa in 1989 to 1990. So it was a success story. We also have Sierra Leone. The United Nations mission in Sierra Leone was deployed to stabilize the country after years of brutal civil war. So are we having people from Sierra Leone now? I hope you guys are enjoying post-conflict peace. So the outcome, the mission helped disarm and demobilize the thousands of combatants, supported the rebuilding of institutions, and enabled free elections. So today, Sierra Leone, they have their free elections, free and fair elections. We have the East Timor, the East Timor. The United Nations Transition Administration in East Timor was established in 1999 to manage East Timor's transition to independence from Indonesia. Mozambique. The United Nations operation in Mozambique helped implement the peace agreement that ended the civil war between the government and the Renamo opposition forces in the early 1990s. Those of you from Mozambique, you can confirm this. Renamo. So, Onomo's success in disarming combatants, supporting the reintegration of ex-fighters, and organizing elections helped stabilize the country, which has remained relatively peaceful since then. Do you understand? Mozambique is enjoying relative peace, all right? Then we have Liberia. Liberia, the United Nations mission in Liberia was established after Liberia's civil war to stabilize the country and aid in reconstruction. So, and they have been doing that, and Liberia is also enjoying relative peace. Challenges of UN intervention. Somalia 1 and 2. The United Nations operation in Somalia aimed to provide humanitarian aid and restore order in the face of civil war in 1990s. Challenges. Despite intensive efforts, the mission were plagued by violent opposition from Somali factions. The infamous Black Hawk Down incident highlighted the challenges of using force in a complex civil conflict, leading to a withdrawal and lack of long-term stability in Somalia. The mission revealed the limitations of peace enforcement in a highly fragmented, violent conflict. So in Somalia, there were so many groups that were fighting. It's highly fragmented. So as a result, the effort of the United Nations could not yield the desired result. You understand? So the forces were withdrawn. Rwanda, and up to today, Somalia is still having problems. Rwanda, the mission, the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda was established to oversee a peace process between the Rwandan government and the Rwandan Patriotic Front. The mission faced severe limitations in mandate and resources, making it unable to prevent or stop the 1994 genocide, where an estimated 800,000 people were killed. This failure underscored the consequences of limited intervention mandate and led to widespread criticism of the United Nations' capacity to prevent atrocities, because they were there but they could do nothing because they were limited. They were not empowered to do anything. So it became a challenge. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina. All right. The mission, the United Nations Protection Force was deployed during the Bosnian War to protect safe areas and facilitate humanitarian aid. Right? And this struggle to protect civilians effectively as since in 1995 Srebrenica massacre, where thousands of Bosniak men and boys were killed. So there were challenges. Then we have Haiti, Democratic Republic of Congo. All of these with their own challenges. So common challenges facing UN interventions: mandate limitation. Once the United Nations have a mandate limitation, it will affect their operation. And that's what happened in Rwanda that end up killing many people. People end up dying. Many people die, and United Nations peacekeepers will be helpless. Resources constraints. When both human and material resources are not being provided, it becomes challenging. Political divisions among member states. All member states are pursuing their individual interests, not collective interests anymore. If it does not benefit America, they don't care. If it does not benefit Russia, they don't care. You understand? Host country cooperation. Many missions depend on host government support, but in some cases, government or local actors exist, creating barriers to success. So this is the much we will take today. So somebody is saying question. Mohammed, what's your question? You would have asked your question. You just say question. You would have asked it. Now that I have seen it, I would have replied. Mohammed, are you there? So for those of you that did examination on peace and sustainable development, we'll start issuing serial numbers tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll talk about the issue of alumni. So we have created a Telegram group for that alumni. So by tomorrow you start receiving the link, the serial number for you to download your certificate, and of course, we will also give you a link to join the alumni group. Do you understand? So, and that is how we're going to. So, when you are coming to receive a link, a serial number for creating of your certificate, you also receive a link to join the alumni group. So, let's try and cooperate to make sure that everything works. So, I'm going to make this announcement in our WhatsApp group so that we can understand them better. And then, for those of you that are doing this training, peace and conflict management, uh, some of the groups have not been created, and people are stranded asking questions. I have not joined a group, and people that were assigned as group leaders are doing nothing. So I'm going to still take more effort to make sure that all the groups are created. All right. So once I do not get the necessary, I will just reassign the groups and make sure that they are created. Thank you. Somebody is asking, how can the United Nations peace mission be sanctioned for being deployed and yet not achieving the purpose of their uh, deployment? Yeah, like we say, there are factors that may affect them not achieving the results. So how can you now punish somebody who suffer as a result of certain factors? Like the issue that we talk about Rwanda now, we say there was the issue of a partial mandate. That is, they were not given full mandate, so they could not do certain things. So it wasn't their fault, right? So if they were given full mandate, they could have intervened. So there are limitations. Sometimes there are limitations. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, girls.